Ink and Echo, the show that comes out even when there's a holiday the next day. We don't stop for anything. We don't stop for Hogwarts. We don't stop for any other magical schools, and we don't stop for July 4th.
Hell no. No way.
Andy, where are you going to be on July 4th? You're going to be driving around.
Yeah, so today, as the day this comes out, I will be playing a show in Nashville, Tennessee. And then 4th of July, I'm having the day off in Nashville.
Wow.
Because, trying to play a show on the 4th of July would be a silly thing to try to do.
Indeed.
So yeah, it's going to be a very swashbuckling American place to be on the old 4th of July. It's going to be fun.
Great.
So that's how I answer your question.
Great. I hope you enjoy that. Today, we've got Billy Mays the third.
The infinite third.
And his PR person sent us a little info packet ahead of time that they were like, don't mention OxyClean. Don't say anything about his father. Just make sure you don't go there. And then Andy brought up the ShamWow, and it was all over. And Billy just got upset, and he hung up the call. And he's very
super dramatic.
Person. Yeah, he was not happy. So this is just like a 2-minute episode.
Yeah,
just
he gets pissed,
kidding.
And then you can hear him slam his computer to the ground.
Just slam the laptop closed. No, Billy was a great dude.
Yeah,
is a great dude currently. Just has a
previously
great spirit.
Was a great dude.
And great heart, jovial, happy guy, makes a ton of good music.
We seem to be getting a lot of people on the show who are just, in general, like doing better than us as human beings.
Which
is good for us. It's nice to hear from someone who's been on tour for 4 weeks and still has their shit together.
Right.
I would not.
Yeah. That'd be too long for me as well. I'd like to visit the alternate universe where Josh and Andy are at this point in time, but they didn't do the Ink and Echo show, because I'm pretty sure we'd both be far worse off.
I think I agree. It gets me out of my head more than I would normally.
Yeah.
And I'm able to see what's actually in there, which is good.
Like, you could potentially still be against marijuana, or at least not open to it. You'd be scared to talk about faith stuff. Yep. I mean, honestly, along with that, as if our listeners don't know, Joe Rogan has changed my mind about a lot of things too.
Sure.
Anyway.
Wait, that was the end of your statement?
Mm-hmm.
What does he change your mind on?
I guess I should say, just in a more general way, I've learned a lot.
Okay.
Because of his show,
right.
And he has, I've loosened my reins, so to speak, on the idea of psychedelics and marijuana, and just started recognizing the possible benefits of those things, and I guess that's the biggest one. But yeah,
it's because previously on this show, you have specifically said that you were going to stop listening to Joe Rogan because it made you feel bad.
That's true, and are you
listening to him currently?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
the episode with the Westboro Baptist girl was really interesting.
Yes,
Lady.
It was.
Sorry.
Right. Yeah, I don't listen to all of them because I don't have 50 hours a week to devote to it.
Well, and I don't give a shit about MMA stuff for the most part.
Sure. So. Yeah. But no, I mean, I truly do glean information from that show, totally. And I have to just sort of watch. I have to balance my input, how much of him I'm absorbing and how much of other things. But I've told people like no other show, I really do learn from that, and my thinking has changed. And it's just different than, because he's not talking to celebrities and actors who are just like, here's where I grew up, here's my
right.
It's really deep cut, obscure people.
Yeah, he gets pet subjects that he just wants to learn about and finds people to bring him in about it, which is cool. And I was talking to Megan about him the other day, or someone, and it's just his show. A lot of what he does is he'll bring on a guest who knows a lot about a certain thing, but inevitably he'll talk about things that are just on his mind in the world that aren't even related to what this person is necessarily good at, which sounds like potentially a really selfish thing to do, to bring someone on and just talk about things that you care about. But I feel like he ends up getting people to open up in a way that they wouldn't normally, and like talk about a thing from an angle that wouldn't normally be seen or something. So I don't know. I agree with you. I like it, but I also agree with you that other input is good. I mean, that's just good practice for anything.
Sure. Yeah. So. The one other notable thing is that they stream all those live on YouTube, and so the guest has no chance of asking to have something taken out.
That's true.
I guess they still could after the fact, but anyone who saw it live,
then it's already out there. Yeah.
Which is really interesting. I mean, I kind of like that. It would freak me out a bit, but it's also like, who gives a shit? I mean, unless you're enormously famous and you say something super damaging.
Well, let's be clear though. We've had one person ask us to take a whole episode down.
Right.
We've had a couple people ask us to take certain things out of interviews.
Sure.
So, and that's, I don't know, that's reasonable. So yeah, the thought of if you or I were to go on his show, that would be a little intimidating, to be like, I've got to say this right the first time and not be able to take it all the way. Yeah, that's kind of scary now that I think about it.
Right. Let's get to our talk with Billy Mays, the third. Don't forget the third. Andy, I'm going to make you segue this interview now.
No, come on. Well, let me take my shoes off. Okay.
Yeah, get comfortable over there.
Well, Billy, you've been on Josh's radar for a little while.
Sure have. What else did I say?
I don't remember other than that. But I'd sold Billy a delay pedal like 9 years ago. I was
definitely gonna bring this up. The Empress Super Delay.
Yeah,
which I ended up selling a few years ago. So
how many years ago was that though?
That was probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, it had to have been more than that. It's at least 5.
Oh no, I sold it 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, I'm talking about me.
Yeah.
I'm talking about me.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Me.
We should talk about you. Let's do that. So tell us about your new album, Andy.
No, shut up. I don't want to do that. I walked into that. I apologize. But hey, it's Billy Mays the third, and I sold him a delay pedal once. That's my claim to fame.
Yes. I actually really like that delay pedal, by the way, and I had a really specific mode on it that I liked, and I had to like justify selling it as like I only like the one mode. So I had to like sell it to get something else.
Yeah, that's how
Would you
goes.
agree, Andy? Would you concur?
I can't even remember what it sounded like, to be honest.
Me neither, besides the one mode.
Right.
and what we're doing here is tracking down every person Andy has sold a pedal to and getting them on the show. Billy actually doesn't have anything else going on. He's just a pedal buyer.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
Anyway.
That's actually one of my biggest claims to fame. It's actually going to be like a bonus item on my next album is the delay pedal that I have to buy back now. I'm going to sell it as Andy's delay pedal.
Right. So, okay, that's an interesting thing. We've talked about on this show how Andy gets approached a lot, with people asking about his gear.
Yeah.
When he would just kind of rather that they listen and enjoy the music and not nitpick over ambient sounds.
Yes.
But how do you? I mean, you must get that too. And how do you approach it, or do you just ignore it?
I mean,
you get the whoa, wow! Look at that spaceship. How do you know what all that does? It's either that or it's like, yo, bro, can I get your timeline settings or something?
Every time, yes. Yep. I think I'm the same way. Like, I try to like indulge people and be like, yeah, that's the boomerang. Small talk, pedal talk, but at the same time, like. I have to like really like the person to like actually like engage a message about that.
Well, you have to connect on like literally any other level first for that conversation to be enjoyable.
Yes. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so you've put out a lot of damn albums.
Yeah.
And you do.
I mean, I don't know. I have a weird like I try to like retcon my discography a lot because I I feel like I'm the type of person that puts things out and then I want to like, oh, I should have added this one thing to it, and
you do a Kanye.
Yeah, and I have done that for a few of my albums, and I feel like I've made them better. But there are people out there who have downloaded versions of them that don't have like my version of it now.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks. Which I'm sure you don't do, Andy. But
I know. Once it's done, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'd never want to see this ever again.
see, I'm like that now, but I feel like I'm getting to a point where like I've released. I don't know. I keep like 9 of them public on my Bandcamp, and the rest of them are like kind of just remnants that you can like subscribe and have access to. But
that's smart, actually.
yeah, so the new album I'm building up to, which has been like 3 years in the making, I'm planning to kind of just I'm going to kind of take all the public albums down and make them like only available in certain like to the people who really want to be a historian of Infinite Third, and then this new album will be like my new debut, kind of.
That is really fascinating to me because the idea of doing something like that really intrigues me.
Yeah,
I mean, logistically, I make all my money from my past releases, so I can't really do that. But I've had the fantasy of like starting a secret project and releasing an album and not telling anyone who I am or whatever.
I hear you.
I don't know if I'll ever do that because of the time it would take, and it would basically almost be wasted time because, I mean, not wasted, but just it wouldn't probably do anything for me financially. But
yeah,
I completely understand your impulse there.
Well, I
like
actually
that.
did do that. I have a
Oh, are we gonna get exclusive? What's your secret project?
I'm not revealing
okay.
it. I think Dave Mantell knows it though. There's a few people who definitely know what it is because
we're gonna get it then.
Yeah, no, you totally will. It's like one of these things where I wish I would have been more secretive right off the bat, but then I like I deleted the traces of it leading to me because I was like, no, this could be like my secret identity, and I released like some 2 electronic EPs that are like just super synth based, and yeah, I don't know.
That's hilarious. Was it satisfying or do you regret it?
No, it's great. I actually really I hold the project kind of dear because it gives me a chance to like not be me if I ever want to go back to that.
Yeah, exactly.
And the people who know can just know, and that's fine. I guess.
That's cool. I like that.
And I noticed you do the subscriber thing on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Those people have access to your entire back catalog?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
I just started that like, I think 2 months ago, or maybe 3 months ago. And I have a few subscribers. Like I kind of I don't really make a special deal out of it. Like you just kind of get a bunch of live recordings and old albums.
Right, things other people can't get, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people have gotten them already, so it's not that special. But
right.
I am thinking about kind of offering or not thinking about, I'm kind of mapping out for next year a way to like put out like a kind of a improvisational recording every month that kind of just goes to the subscribers.
Nice.
Right.
Andy, do you still do your subscriber thing?
Yeah, I actually started using it pretty soon after it came out, the feature.
Okay.
And so mine's the same thing. There's like a couple releases that are not public that people can get and like get discounts on merch and stuff. So it's I really like it, but I haven't quite figured out how I want to do it completely. Because I feel like I could if I could offer something. The problem is like I could offer something really cool and exclusive to these people, but I have to balance like my time and effort because I don't want to offer something and then it kind of take over too much of my life, or I have to it's subpar because I bit off too much more than I could chew, whatever.
Yeah.
So I like the concept and the platform. I feel like I'm not satisfied with my own way of implementing it right now. So it's just kind of sitting there. People can do it if they want, but I haven't pushed it very hard. Yeah. So it kind of bothers me when I think about it, but
yeah. I think a lot of people are in that place with that service because it seems like something that could be really cool, but you kind of have to like focus on that as like a steady thing. One
band I saw, I mean, completely different type of band, but Protest the Hero did that on Bandcamp.
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, and they did we're going to release a new song every month just for subscribers.
Sheesh.
And so by the end of, I don't know, 8 months,
like a year or...
Yeah, something like that. 8 or 9 months, like the subscribers had basically their whole new album.
Yeah.
But then it didn't come out until like publicly it didn't come out for like a while after that. So it was just kind of like, hey, get in on this early thing and leak it out over a couple months. So I don't know, that was kind of a cool thing, I thought.
Yeah. I actually have like a pretty extensive plan I'm laying out where I'm thinking on like the third day of every month I'm gonna release like kind of do this like corny like infinite third day thing where like on the third day of every month I'll release like a 33 minutes and 33 seconds like kind of sound collage of just recordings I'm working on. It's kind of silly, but I'm kind of doing that like I mean I don't know, I kind of do a lot of like almost like how Andy used to put out or still puts out like sketches and stuff. Like I do a lot of sketching and stuff. And I usually just end up sampling my sketches later and using them in albums and stuff.
That's cool.
Right.
So I was thinking I could kind of make this like my little outlet for doing things that I wouldn't do on an album moving forward, and just kind of have that like canvas to try like different types of samples and different types of like droney sounds. And
right. And if it's mostly improvisation, like what you said, that's relatively little investment time wise. It's just definitely. Like I spent 33 minutes and 33 seconds and
exactly.
This is what happened. So take it or leave it, it's fine. Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me and fun.
Yeah. And plus one per month isn't that bad, but I think it just fits into right now my minimum is $3.33 a month for subscribing, and I'm just kind of like buying into this like really like numerical thing, and I like I'm kind of like tongue in cheek about it, but there's something I like about just I like kind of really diving into that and just
I think it's
making
great.
People accept it as like this 33-minute meditation they're going to do once a month or something if they really want to treat it that way.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah, I like that because it's consistent and it. Yeah. So okay, I want to know how did this all begin? How did you get into making instrumental music? But before you answer that, who were the bands that really made you, want to do music of this type?
Mogwai, number one.
Yeah.
Like big time Mogwai, like every album.
Right.
But
wait, before you move on, so the Happy Songs for Happy People album?
Yes.
Did you ever have the CD version or like a physical version of it?
I think I did have a CD version of it.
Okay, because I was always obsessed, and I wonder if this was intentional or not, but the cover had, the text Happy Songs for Happy People, except for the F in 4. It was on the back. It like wrapped around to the back of the CD. So the front, it said Happy Songs or Happy People.
Oh.
And I was because the songs are so like the titles are so sarcastic sounding, and I always loved that so much. And I didn't know. I always wanted. I kind of don't want to know because I like the mystery. But it's like, was that on purpose to put the F on the other side? Because it fits with them and their weird, sarcastic, sad music. So
yeah. Oh man, I don't think I ever did have the CD. I think I had like Come On Die Young and Rock Action, and Mr. Beast. But yeah, I feel like even though that's actually my favorite one, I never really had a hard copy of it. But yeah, I mean, Mogwai still is like I'm still into their stuff, like the new stuff that they're doing. That's like soundtrack type things, and
that's awesome.
I think, but going further back, I think Andy would relate to this. From what I know, is that I was always way into the band Dredge, and
oh wow, I did not know that.
And
absolutely,
so yeah, that was like something I like. I feel this about Dredge is that they were kind of one of these bands that like came from the nu metal time and but totally had this other, kind of atmospheric twist on it. And I almost was fed Dredge in my nu metal like hunger and then didn't appreciate them until a few years later. And I was this is a real band.
They ended up being a gateway thing.
Yeah,
kind of.
Definitely.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's funny.
Yeah, but like I came from like man, that nu metal stuff was my shit back in the day. So I can't like I have a healthy like respect for that time, but
wait, how old are you?
I'm gonna be 31 in August.
Okay, so we're like basically the same age. So we were right in 2000, 2004 in high school. Oh, yeah. It was like we were the absolute prime market for all that stuff. Totally. And here's this. So I'm so do not
going to nu metal right now.
Totally, I'll go there all day, every day.
Me too.
Because I want to know your thoughts because I'm completely unapologetic and I'll throw on a Limp Bizkit album every once in a while and I'll have a great time in my car and Like people.
And he's got a pretty sizable Spotify playlist going too.
Oh, I'm so proud of it. Have you seen it, Billy?
You do? I need this. I need this.
Okay.
link.
It's I would do it right now, but I spend a lot of time. Well, I'm gonna at least pull up how many songs are in it because I basically just tried to find everything that was on the radio in that genre at like late 90s, early 2000s. And I'm so proud of it. Anyway, so do you feel you can listen to it? So there's 228 songs, by the way.
Okay.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we can put it in the show notes.
I needed this. I'll tell you why I needed this, and this is like from this moment. I'm on tour right now. I'm in like the 4th week of tour, and I'm in Boston. Wow. And I had my first like in Boston like chill day today, where my wife went and hung out with her friend, and I kind of just like got to roam Boston in my car alone.
Nice.
And that's when the Limp Bizkit comes out.
And for sure, and actually, what happened was somehow I went and I looked for this band. I don't know if this is even like, maybe this might be obscure even in the new metal like.
Bring it on. Let me see. I might know.
The band called No One.
No One?
Oh, see, I knew it. I knew I had this. Okay,
spelled correctly. Or I'm sure it's not
correctly.
spelled. Oh, that's weird for the time.
I know, and it's a band called No One, and basically they had one album, and it was self-titled, called No One, and I saw them at Ozfest like 2001 or something. They were
dude, they're not even on Spotify.
No, I know. So I went to this deep search.
It's a deep new metal cut. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I found that there is someone that uploaded the full album on YouTube, and that was the place I had to listen to it. And I got up to like track 5 before I got back to this house and had to start preparing for this podcast. So I'm like,
I'm sorry.
No, I know.
We cut you off.
Well, I'm gonna finish it, but it's not on Spotify. It's not on Apple Music. So I found out that like I guess their guitar player died like a couple of years ago in a boating accident. So they don't really manage their like online stuff. Which this album was like pretty like I felt like definitive new metal in a certain way, like it, but also like really listenable in the production and in like the song structure and stuff. So it lived up to it when I listened to it. I just always kind of feel like with new metal there's I don't even know if this is like a horrible thing, but the lyrics kind of just don't stand the test of time.
I'll 100% agree with you. Everyone was just mad for like no reason. Like there's a lot of bands now, and even then, like, I mean, Rage Against the Machine is a good example. Like their anger stands the test of time, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
But like Fred Durst just being like mad and just like, I'm gonna cut you with my chainsaw. It's like that doesn't. I will 100% admit that it's really bad.
I think I'm thankful to Limp Bizkit for maybe like scaring me off from writing my own vocals, because I always was embarrassed of what I would write, and I think like. In some way, they're responsible for me like just feeling better about instrumental music.
Like I'm not going to embarrass myself the way Fred has done all of his life.
I wrote horrible lyrics for so long, and like now I feel like I've probably shaken that off a little bit. Where I'm planning to like introduce some vocal elements to the new album, but not like. And this is the thing, I have to like be. I'm almost overly vigilant of like. I don't want to have new metal lyrics in my songs. Like I have to go like overly subtle if I'm going to include it.
Yeah.
Andy, I would love if this record No One becomes like your new Chocolate Starfish and you just get obsessed with it.
Well, I'm going to enjoy it, but the nostalgia and everything that's attached to like Chocolate Starfish, like nothing is going to beat that. Man. Like I can sing every 46 fuck words along with Fred at the beginning of the album.
Only we could fly. Yep.
Limp Bizkit style. Okay, I don't want to. We've probably lost every listener, but I'm glad it went here.
No.
Wait, can we give a shout out to Wes Borland though for like really being like an influential guitar player in that time?
Oh hell yes.
Okay, good.
Absolutely, he's definitely in my top 5. And
I picture you buying a pedal from him. Have you bought a pedal from Wes?
No, but he listed all those guitars on eBay like a year ago, and I was really thinking about trying to pick. Like he sold the PRS that was in the Roland video.
Oh man.
I was like, if I had extra money, dude, I would outbid everybody for that guitar.
I mean, I'm just curious, did they go insanely high on bidding?
Yeah, they went really high.
I'm sure they would. Okay.
Yeah, they're like $3,000 to $5,000.
Jeez. Okay.
Limp Bizkit is like the one of the godfathers of the time.
Yeah,
no matter,
for
like,
sure.
still.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I still, if there was any context where I could get completely black lenses for my eyes or contact lenses, I would do it. I just
Right.
love that. I don't care. So,
Andy,
anyway.
something Billy said made me think of this. Have you ever tried to write lyrics for your music? Like, I don't even know this about you, if you have or not.
I think, well, I mean, mostly no.
Okay.
There was a period in college where I wrote one song, and Josh, this may have been you. You might not remember this, but I recorded this song in Acid, and I like sort of attempted to do like a weird rapping thing on top of it. And I remember I went to show someone the song. It may have been you, Josh, and I forgot to mute that track. So for a split second, like you hear me come in and something, and that like killed it for me forever. Basically, I was like so embarrassed.
Man, if only you
Oh,
could
man.
find this recording. Do you have it?
If only we could fly. No.
Okay, so
no.
I have songs from my early like high school music making. I used to make like prog, like instrumental melodic prog rock metal type songs.
See, you sound really even more similar than I realized, because I was in like a instrumental blues rock band in high school.
Okay.
And our MySpace page does still exist. I think
Nice.
you can still go there and listen to
Oh
some
my gosh.
overly
Well, I never had a cool
masturbatory
band though.
shredding. Yeah.
Yeah, my only band in high school was a System of a Down cover band, pretty much.
Oh, that's awesome. That
Yeah.
sounds really
Nice.
fun, actually.
You'd
The
have to
stuff
be
I did
pretty,
that was actually decent was solo
sure.
Yeah.
masturbatory shredding.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, to cover them, you'd have to be all pretty good musicians. Like, they're fast and skillful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I bet if I found a recording, it would sound nothing like what they were doing.
Right. For sure. Okay. So back
Sorry.
to how'd you start doing this, Billy, and when was that?
Oh, is that what we were talking about?
Yeah, that's
Okay. Well, then that's about where I was going to go. Was in high school, I had an 8-track Boss digital recorder that I could layer 8 tracks and kind of mix them with faders, and I would. This is like secrets of the trade here. I plugged a Metal Zone pedal directly into it and had no
Nice.
idea about sounds or anything, and I just would layer 6 guitars.
yeah, dude.
I would basically write chords, and then I would play each note of the chord with the Metal Zone and play the riffs as like chords, and then I would have like an electronic drum kit, and I would play over it, and the snare
That's
drum
hilarious.
sounded like Saint Anger. Metallica. And I had no idea how to mix it, and I have these
Like an
recordings,
angry
so I-
basketball or something.
Yeah, no, definitely. And this album is actually on Bandcamp, and it's under the name Perception is the World is the band, and the album is yeah, and the album is Qualia, and there's 5 tracks, and like I don't hate it, but it's like it's probably the only thing that I would ever share from that time in my life.
Sure. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So to be serious though, I graduated from that style of music pretty much in the year 2009. I don't want to say graduated, but
Oh, yeah.
Sure,
I
yeah.
had an apartment fire in
Oh,
February
wow.
of 2009, and I lost all my gear, all my clothes,
Oh.
everything. I had
Holy
just moved
cow.
into a place, and a week after I moved in, somebody burned the apartment down, the whole building, and
Oh my
God.
gosh.
yeah, I got out.
Oh, so you were there when it started happening?
Yeah, I was sleeping. It was like 2 a.m. and
Oh, that's
I-
terrifying.
I inexplicably woke up and went to the front door, and apparently somebody was pounding on the door, but I don't remember hearing anything. I just remember getting up and going to the door, and the guy was like, "Hey, get up! There's a fire! Like you gotta, pack some
Whoa.
stuff." So I don't make much of it, and I go and get my phone, keys, wallet, and this is just a small detail that I remember is that at the time I was listening to a lot of Hammock, and
Yes.
Oh, wow.
their albums were playing on shuffle while the place burned down because I didn't shut it off. It was
Oh
just
my
playing
gosh.
still. So I shared this with them a long time ago, and they thought it was interesting. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I get to the door, and by the time I get to the door, I'm on the second floor, the fire has made it and covered the stairs, the only stairwell to get down.
Oh my gosh.
So the guy who knocked on the door was actually the maintenance guy because he was my neighbor, and he does the thing where you like have to break the glass to get to the fire extinguisher, and he does that. And I'm just I'm too stunned to like make any moves. Like I was just like, wow, I don't know what's gonna happen here. And he gets the fire extinguisher and like kind of gets the fire out of the way and just tells me and my girlfriend at the time to run through it, and we ran. And by the time we turned around, the whole building's roof was like over my apartment was just in flames. And it was
my gosh.
Yeah, so I'm watching my apartment burn down, and the worst thing I lost though was a custom built guitar that my friend made for me. It was it was a perfect like nu metal kid guitar. It was it was like priceless. It had exposed curly koa Hawaiian wood on the back, and on the front was, I told him to make it all black, so it was black ebony pickup guards and and volume knobs, and it was a Les Paul shape. And my only thing that I made him like change about it was, instead of that little butt that's at the top of a Les Paul, I made it come to a point. So you can imagine, and it had like the third symbol on the third fret, and it had an infinity symbol on it somewhere, and it was like a really special guitar. And I had only had it for 3 months at the time, and I was like,
jeez.
And I called. He was the first person I called as the place was burning down, and I was like delusional, and I was thinking like, I'm gonna wait till they squirt the hose, and then I'm gonna go in and save it. And he was like, no, that was definitely the first thing that went up in flames, because the lacquer finish wasn't going to dry for like 6 more months anyway.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my gosh. So it was just
that
like
was so that led to the getting new gear and sort of getting a Stratocaster and not having much to work with. So I would like turn the reverb up and playing like softer music. And
yeah. Well, if you were already listening to Hammock while the building was burning down, then there it is.
Yeah. So that year I built my stuff back up with the help of my dad. And then in June, a few months later, he died that year. So
oh man,
that was kind of the turning point year that I always kind of look back at. And at the time when he died, I was already working on like what became my first Infinite Third album. And by by August or so, I decided like, all right, I have to finish this album. And it became this therapeutic process.
Right.
And I released it in December and had no idea what I was doing. Pressed it on some CDs, paid too much, gave them all away. You know, it was like, but to this day, I mean, Gently, it's still out there. It's one of the ones that people relate to the most, I think.
Here's a weird thing about that album, because I remember that, and I asked you who mastered it.
Oh, okay.
And then so I ended up going with that guy to master my Migratory Patterns EP.
Oh, well, Nathan James.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then Josh used that guy to master his album.
Right.
That's really great. Oh my gosh. That's good. I'm actually like planning to go to him for my new album as like a full circle thing. So
nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice. Yeah, so that's my shift into, I guess I just call it like more emotionally connected music, like connected to my emotions particularly.
Yeah.
Just not connected to that bro anger that we talked about.
Exactly.
Just something a little more there than that.
Yeah. There's something really, I mean, kind of poetically beautiful and tragic about that. Just that a fire literally consumed your stuff, and you emerged with this new style of music. Were your parents supportive of your music?
Oh yeah. I grew up with my mom pretty much. My dad was kind of just like traveling pitchman, and they were divorced. So I only got to see my dad like once or twice a year when he would come to town for the home and garden shows. And
Gotcha.
But my mom is like probably just so overly supportive that it messed me up in some ways about like getting attention. But she would sit there and let me play in the next room over as loud as I wanted until like 3 a.m. And she's just like, no, I like hearing it. And this was like the abrasive, like, nu metal type music. And she cries when she hears my music, and she's overly supportive. But my dad, on the other hand, he only got exposed to my music for like the last few years of his life whenever I was like living with him, and I was not making like music that I'm proud of now, but I know that he was supportive because he kind of like sent me to college for recording arts and stuff, and and he always supported it. But it kind of sucks that he never really got to see me like play music. Like I didn't play live until a whole year and a half or 2 years after he died.
Okay.
Which is, now that I play live, it's definitely like that's my art form. I feel like more than anything is playing live and improvising and stuff.
Yeah. So how has it grown to what it is now? Because you have a decent sized audience, and if you're able to tour, it sounds like people are coming to shows and stuff.
Yeah, well, on the tour note, I really respect, just as a side note, what Andy and Hotel Neon are doing. With the Slow Spaces thing. I play house shows. I tend to kind of like get involved with like DIY shows and like noise shows a lot.
Oh, okay.
Which I really love playing. They're great little scenes and communities a lot of the time. But I really respect like the way you've presented it and the way that you've like kind of invited people to invite you in a way. And I think, and it seems like it works. I don't know. I haven't been to one yet.
Yeah, it totally does. And I'm sure you understand the fact that like this type of music, someone's living room is honestly, there's no better place to do it. It's a small amount of people in like a comfy place, and you're not on a stage way above the other people. You're all just kind of right there. It's really great. But thank you. That's really cool to hear.
So I've managed to kind of I've found a little niche for myself by doing yoga classes and yoga events.
Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. I saw a little video you'd posted.
Yeah, it's I really love it. It's it gives me a chance to play for people that aren't staring at me, but they're definitely feeling the music.
Yeah.
And I get to kind of like it's cool because I'm noticing how yoga instructors are. I don't know if you guys are like into yoga at all or know much about it.
My mom is a yoga instructor.
Oh, nice. Oh, and
I'm
your
aware.
mom's awesome. Your mom's done art for you. I have one of your mom's prints, I think.
Oh yeah.
Right? I would, right? From I think from
Carry Us All Away.
Carry Us All Away. Yeah, I do.
And which Josh sang vocals on one of those songs on that album.
Oh my gosh.
Boy, this is like an Infinite Third reunion. Infinite Third. I was trying to make a joke that didn't really land, but
I saw what you were going for there. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
We appreciate the effort and the risk you took.
Yeah, that's what counts. Yeah.
So yoga, I've gotten into this kind of like in my town in St. Petersburg, Florida. There's like sort of this awesome yoga community where they're all about kind of like doing yoga in places where you don't normally do yoga, which I'm also kind of about doing music in places that you don't normally do music.
Yeah.
So they have this monthly event. One of my favorite yoga studios is called The Body Electric, and they have a monthly event called Yoga on Tap where they pair an instructor with a musician at a brewery, and then everyone hangs around afterwards and drinks beer.
Yeah.
And it's great. And it's one of my favorite gigs to do.
Yeah.
But it kind of segued into me just being like hitting up yoga studios and being like, hey, I do this a lot. I would love to come and just play for your class. And you can always tell like when they're into it, like they'll instantly be like, this is amazing. We'd love to have you. And I've kind of just done this thing on the road where when they ask me how much I charge, I just kind of say like, I'm just comfortable with whatever you want to give me. And
that's interesting.
And they do this, and there's something about the yoga community where they want to take care of you, I feel like, already. Mm-hmm. So there's that, like, kind of like in a different from what I've found in like the music scenes, and that well,
that's like their business.
Yeah.
All around is taking care of themselves and others. Yeah,
true. And that's what I found is that it's helped me trust this process of just like I literally today walked into a yoga studio in Boston because I kind of have a few days off in Boston, and I walked into one yoga studio that looked pretty cool, and I was talking to the woman at the desk, and she turns out to be the owner, and I was like, have you guys ever had like live music? I'm kind of on tour, blah, blah, blah. And she was just like, as a matter of fact, this weekend is our live music and yoga like weekend. We every weekend or every year we try to do a weekend where we pair musicians with the classes. And she's like, we have 4 p.m. Saturday available.
Wow.
And I was just like, and then they like pulled up my music, looked at some videos, and they were like so excited. And so, you know, it's been an unexpected, like, I guess you call it a niche of mine that I feel like
It's
a lot
like
of
a
people
niche
could probably
inside a
be utilized.
niche kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
totally. So besides that, my other side is I do like short form sets, like 30-minute kind of non-ambient. They're all kind of like droney sets, but they all have like structural songs where I trigger samples and beats and bass lines and stuff that kind of happen. But that's where I'm at. Is like I'm focused mostly on that right now, whereas that's the one that needs the most upgrade. Is I want my new album to reflect what I do in that like short form set, so I can like I really like want to open for bands that I love, like post rock bands and Russian circles, and you know, like big like that's like kind of my thing. Is I want to kind of translate into that world with what I'm doing as a solo artist.
Right, and as like a single package that's hopefully attractive to a band, be like, oh, we could just take this one guy, and that's like, and then they get a cool show. That's good for everybody involved. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Have you been able to do any of that so far? I mean, rub shoulders with any of those guys, or tour with someone larger than you?
I kind of like hold off on reaching out to the ones that I really see myself like, or the ones that I see out of reach, because I'm like, I'm not there yet kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to present it to them until I like have something I'm really proud of. And that's kind of the goal of this new album, is to kind of make it so that when you get to my website, you're seeing the new album, the new like live set, the kind of that approach to where it'll be like kind of digestible like that. But as far as like local bands, I actually do have a few like a go-to bands that I tend to open for, where they love it. They see it as like the perfect opener, because I'm not like another 5-piece band, and it's less time to set up. I can kind of backline in front of them with my gear. They can backline behind me. I mean, and so it's something I really love doing too, is just kind of like setting the stage for a bigger, louder act.
Yes.
Right.
Totally. Wait, so I was just thinking, when you were talking about potentially approaching other bands, like, so your name, Billy Mays, I mean, I'm just curious about your relationship with it, because I'm sure the first thing people say is like, wait, that Billy Mays? Like, and do you find that is, I mean, one, do you find it helpful or not helpful in any sort of situation? And two, do you find it annoying or not annoying? that's usually the first thing people say or whatever.
Yeah. I've had many years experience with fielding it. So I kind of just like, it's kind of like a low rumble of just always happening at this point, but in a way that I don't really care anymore at all. But I for one thing, I never really like, I usually don't like start a conversation with it. So I leave it out there. I don't want it to be like, that's the basis of our relationship, because I've had relationships, friends, and, you know, people I've worked with where they're getting me on that basis and not on the merit of what I'm doing. And you can definitely tell the balance is a little off.
Interesting.
But I do find that, you know, people say it, and I never like lie. I just say, yeah, he's my dad. And I find it awesome that people like him and know who he is and stuff. And I love seeing memes about my dad and art. I collect them, and I have a little site called billymays.org that is just where I kind of post silly things I find that reference him.
Yeah.
Right. So I love that aspect of it. I don't really find that. I guess it's maybe the type of music, which is maybe like a saving grace of what's going on, is that no matter how like you want to try to use like my dad's name to like draw a crowd, I don't think it's gonna work if you're like
totally
you're promoting this like this drone, you know, noise artist, you know. So,
right. But I was just thinking it at least gets like some attention immediately. Like, it's not just some random dude emailing a band, be like, hey, I want to open for you. It's like, wait, Billy Mays, like, that's going to stick in their head and be like, Wait, didn't some guy email us like 3 days ago?
Yeah.
Like, so
And that's
I mean,
true, and
it seems like it would be
something
to your benefit a little bit.
yeah,
But
and I
I
think
could be wrong.
I think that's a privilege that like I'm aware of, and that I'm not
Yeah.
afraid to like acknowledge it. And I actually I appreciate it, because my dad always, he named me after him, and
Yeah.
I'm the third. He was named after his father, and then there was actually more Billy Mazes before that, and they all had different middle names.
Oh, interesting.
And it goes into like the Civil War and stuff. And
Oh,
I
wow.
would technically be like the fifth if they would have kept this one middle name going, but William Darrell Mays is my name, the third. And I don't know how much I agree with that like naming scheme of like passing it down.
Right.
But I guess my dad, I do remember growing up like as he started to become famous and like on TV, he like I don't think he used his name as a lot. Like I don't think he would just like throw it around like, "Oh, do you know who I am?" like that kind of thing. But he kind of like would encourage me to kind of like not be afraid of it, because I think he just felt like he wanted me to have like this this like advantage. And I'm like,
Sure.
I don't think it was like, I don't think he knew why or whatever, but I think he was just trying to look out for me. And so it actually like made me really aware of like, yeah, there's like a thing behind this. Like I have his name. It would be different if I was like Joey Mays, and it would never come up. It would almost never come up,
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I'm proud of it, and I kind of use the little line like "son of a pitchman," because as much as I've tried to like just be an artist and
Yeah, you're not going to escape that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the idea that I'm becoming more and more pitchman all the time, just like totally not an infomercial gadget pitchman.
Right. Oh yeah, as a DIY musician, that's most of your job.
Yeah,
kind of.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, you seem to have just a very like healthy way of viewing all that, and just in general, I mean, from the 40 minutes talking to you, you seem like a pretty well balanced and like happy person, or content perhaps.
Oh,
I mean, do you we talk a lot about like anxiety and depression on this show.
Yes.
Do you have your darker moments too?
Oh,
or,
yeah. Well, I think I guess I'm coming from a place right now when you ask me that, where I'm like almost far removed, being on the road and kind of being like distracted,
sure.
to where a lot of my recent kind of challenges have been in relationship, like kind of going through like the processing of projecting your own shit onto another human being, and like having your own space and interdependence and stuff like that. So I'm sure that translates into like all these like deep like single person issues, but I've been looking at them in the context, because I just got married in April. So not that I just started going through it when I got married, but being in this really like serious relationship has been really challenging and like so amazing because of that. So I feel like that's a lot of the context that I've had lately for a lot of my challenges.
Yeah.
And it almost like digs up your shit. I don't know if you guys can relate to this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I feel like there's a lot of like self-esteem issues and all these different shortcomings that become so much more prevalent when you're like taking them out on someone else, and they're like, dude, you're taking this out on me, like I didn't do anything, like that kind of shit. And then so I mean that's where I come from. But as far as like anxiety and depression, I feel like I don't want to say cured, but I feel like my relationship to those issues are much different than they used to be, and much more balanced, I think, than maybe say 5 to 7 years ago.
Sure.
Right.
How about you guys? I mean, what do you guys like coming, like where are you coming from when you say that? When you ask me that, I'm just curious, because I don't want to be like the guy just chatting about.
No, it's.
Oh no! What's your answer, Andy?
Well, I don't even know where to begin. I feel like just somewhat recently, I've really realized what anxiety is and means. Like you hear about anxiety, and you're only, at least in my mind, it was like, oh, I'm like really nervous about this test tomorrow that I have. And like, oh, I got this butterfly feeling. But like the past year or so, I feel like I'm like, oh, like my body is doing this thing that I'm not in control of anymore. It has no reason. Like there's no test tomorrow. I don't know what the hell's going on. And it came on kind of slowly for me. So I just thought like, I kept thinking my life was normal. I was stressed out by everything and not able to look at anything big picture wise. And then, I mean, long story short is basically, I'm feeling a lot better right now. And it's largely, 100% because I went to a kinesiologist and he gave me all these supplements to take. And nice. It's weird because I feel like I'm pulling out of it quicker than I descended into it. And so I'm like, wow, I can think long term now. Like in my head, I'm literally thinking for the first time in a long time, I was like, oh, like what should I be doing like 6 months from now? Whereas previously it was like crippling. It's like I can't even handle what's happening today. I can't even figure out how to get my shit done for what happens in the next 2 hours. So like the idea of thinking that far ahead was just not a thing I could do. So I'm feeling more happy and excited because I don't know. I used to feel very weighed down by being self-employed and depending on creativity for my living. Like that by itself is enough to, destroy a human being. But I feel like I'm on an upwards trajectory, and I feel like I'm excited again, which is really good. So that's my story.
That's good, Andy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was having that quick of an effect.
Well, I mean, it's been 3-4 weeks, and I'm taking not a billion, but like handful of things morning and evening. I've never been good at staying up with that stuff, but for whatever reason, especially since I started feeling at work, I was like, I'm gonna keep doing this no matter what, because I don't want to go back to feeling like the way I did.
Yeah, totally.
Right on.
Well, that's good, Billy. Though
I relate to that, Andy. That was well put.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What about you, Josh? You can't cop out of this.
Yeah, you gotta give some.
Oh, I'm not. My only reason for maybe copping out is because I spend so much time on this show already talking about my existential terror.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I would also say I'm better than I was several years ago, where I was just a really emotionally volatile person, not anger or not crying, but like just having these moments where it's like you get thunked with a hammer in the middle of the back and all of a sudden you can't find any reason for your entire life. And just coming to realize that those enormous waves of emotion and those moments, they do pass, and those thoughts are not true in that moment. And I'm learning that more and more. But yeah, I still have some pretty rough days. And Andy, the kind of definition you gave of anxiety, I mean, I guess in my case, it seems more like a panic or a or a paranoia or being
and I was like, I was having increasing amounts of panic attacks, but the thing I'm sort of realizing now is that there was just this general anxiety that I just came to think was normal, and I was like, oh, another panic attack, I gotta figure this one out, and then I'm like, okay, I'm cool, but I wasn't cool. So that's the biggest thing I think I'm figuring out right now.
Yeah
Wow.
Yeah, I like that you said that, a lot of people like will call it anxiety if you're like nervous about something that's coming up, and it's like that's totally just like it's almost like
the tip of the iceberg.
People think they have social anxiety or like anxiety disorders because they like feel awkward sometimes, in anticipation of things, and I'm like, I really don't think we should like degrade like what's really going on with anxiety and stuff.
Well, like a panic attack kind of sounds silly. It's like, oh, what? You're just like really scared about a bunch of things. It's like, no, you feel like you're having a heart attack. Like, I don't know what a heart attack feels like, but it feels like what a heart attack looks like when other people have it. It's like, it's terrible. So,
my dad had he had a kind of a thing that he's on camera saying it. I don't know what the context was. It was like a candid, like somebody was filming him talking about something, and he I know what it was. He was about to go on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno for the first time, and he was in the limo, and somebody was filming him, asking him like, "How you feeling?" And he was saying how he's nervous, but he says something like kind of just in passing, but he says like, he's like, "It's good though." He's like, the nerves, they're like just reminding me that I'm alive, and this is all like, really happening right now. And I kind of took that as like, it kind of stuck with me for performance, and having that kind of like anticipation of like, when I get nervous now, I kind of smile at it rather than like panicking with it, but so that's just something that like, I don't think that is like the clinical kind of anxiety that we're talking about. I think there's like a more like physical dread that kind of just takes you over.
Right.
Totally. Yeah, wait, so I'm curious, like you've been on tour for 4 weeks. Like I can only do like two and a half at a time before I start falling apart. So like you said you're kind of, it sounded like earlier you were talking about how it's like kind of good. Like how do you, I mean, after 4 weeks, are you not falling apart? How are you not falling apart? Is basically what I want to know.
I'm actually on the upswing of a falling apart. Honestly, okay, New York City kind of made me fall apart. It was way over the top and stressful. I had never been to New York City before. I was there for like 5 days, and it was way too long to like immerse in that for me right now.
Wow.
But also I'm traveling with my wife. This is kind of like our unofficial honeymoon, this 2-month tour.
2 months, dang.
Yeah, so we're not going to be back at our home until August.
Whoa.
So 5 more weeks, and it's great though. I mean, we're kind of like, we've developed this kind of system where we feel like we're living on the road rather than just like on a trip. Yeah. Where we kind of downsized beforehand. We still have a place at home, but somebody's like house sitting and kind of subletting while we're gone. Yeah. And I guess we kind of do a lot of I think like self-repair and like self-care that is really like needed on this kind of thing. Like we stay with people that sometimes they're draining, sometimes they're uplifting and inspiring. Right. So we kind of just cherish those little moments that are like really empowering. Like 2 nights ago, we were in I got a random yoga gig on this property called I don't know what the property's called, but it's in Westport, Massachusetts, and this yoga studio calls themselves the Heron, and we had no idea what it was. And a friend actually got me the gig, and they were like, "Yeah, sure, have them come play the thing." And when I get there, it's this magical land of like yurts and gardens, and they have this like beautiful area set up. And on the way there, my wife and I were just kind of like fighting, and we weren't feeling like, I don't know, we just weren't feeling like balanced. It was like when you start eating not right for a couple days and not working out, not walking enough. And that's what you kind of get cooped up. So we get to this thing, do the yoga class. And my wife loves yoga, so she gets to do all the yoga classes that I play, which is awesome. Yeah. And it just kind of like reset us instantly. After it, we just kind of like looked at each other and all the shit was gone. Nice. And we just kind of like remembered what we were doing on this trip. And from that moment, like I feel like we've kind of been on this path of like, well, we like remembered what we have to do to like kind of keep everything in check.
Wow.
So I mean, that's part of it, is I think just like, I guess just like doing the work, like shit you would have to do at home to get yourself right. You kind of have to do on the road in like adaptable ways.
Right. And like for the tour I'm about to do, like, me, definitely introverted. The other guys in Hotel Neon, very similar, pretty much, 100% introverted guys. And it's like, we could stay in the hosts' homes every night for the most part. And I'm sure they'd be nice people, but, we have this period of time where our energy is being sucked out. And it's like, we need to get out of there at the end of the night. and we can't,
yeah.
lay down and then wake up and still be with these same people. It's like it, as an independent DIY musician, it would make way more sense financially to stay with these people. But for our mental sanity, like, no, we have to do hotels. Like, I'm not gonna.
You're getting hotels. Like, are you sharing rooms, Airbnb?
Yeah, it's just us four sharing one room and splitting the cost. So it's pretty cheap, but it's just one of the most fun parts of the night. It's like you've got this whole day where you drive and then you're scrambling to get set up and you play the show and you're talking to a bunch of people and then like you leave and you can kind of like, you just like have this collective debrief and it feels so good because the adrenaline's coming down. Everyone's like a little loopy and it's really late at night and because that release is what we need each night. And if we were staying at the host's house, I don't think we would get that, and then we would all just want to die.
That's good that you've like discovered that, or like at least appreciate that, because that sounds like I can definitely relate to like the moment where you get away from the people finally, even if they're good people. It's like sometimes you just get to be back in your little bubble, and we actually have a little like, I mean, this is like super private, but we have a little like ritual we do when we get back in the car every day. Like, we light some Palo Santo in the car and have this little list of like intentions that we wanted to set at the beginning, and we just kind of read them.
Oh, wow.
And that's it. And it's nothing crazy, but it's one of those things that like, even if you don't want to do it, it's something you should do, because it's just kind of gets you kind of like of that mindset again.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But wait, on a side note, have you ever been to, or are you guys going to Springfield, Illinois?
We are going to St. Louis.
Oh, okay. Because and you should just keep this in mind for next tour. There's an amazing place called the Radon Lounge.
Oh.
That is, I played there last year with Analecta and Null, and they are a basement venue, and they are like the most energizing place to stay and play. And they have like upstairs quarters for the musicians, and they make you dinner and breakfast and root beer floats, and it was just like one of those things where like we were feeling pretty exhausted, and I think that place just like kept us going.
That's awesome,
man.
I love that there's people like that out there. Like, I've stayed in RIFO homes before. Have you used them, Billy?
What is it?
It's RIFO, RYFO.
No.
It's basically a network of people who are basically just willing to have bands stay with them, like, for free. And it's usually all these people who just like, for whatever reason, it makes zero sense to me, just like want people to come to their house and eat their food and stuff, which I would never do that, but I'm thankful for people who do that. So I've been at a couple, and usually all these, basically anyone who wants to do that is going to be like a really cool person.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's, you should look into that, RIFO.
No, that's cool, because I've dabbled into like couchsurfing.com a little bit, which it's been kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can definitely relate to like, I don't have a big apartment back home, but like, I feel like part of what I want in the future is to be able to like offer someone like a really sick like outside room that's their own thing, that has
just
a little
energize
like
someone.
art. Yeah, I think that would be great, and you'd get some good like a free Airbnb, like that is about like you're touring through, you need a place to stay, kind of thing.
Dude, so be a RIFO host. That's exactly what it is.
I know, now that I know about that, I'm definitely gonna look it up, but probably won't have a place for that for very long.
That's all right.
Right.
Man. Should we? I feel like at this moment now we should just like break into like a Limp Bizkit song. I think that would just be great to tie it all up.
This song is for you, Ben Stiller. You are my favorite motherfucker.
Oh man, do you just like drop those into these podcasts?
I should like, do it more.
Well, this was a good talk.
Yeah,
I feel like we all collectively like hit our moment there. Kind of, we hit our done spot. But Billy,
I really appreciate you guys and what you're doing.
Oh yeah,
both of you are like inspiring to me. So
that's awesome.
Right
dude.
On.
I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah,
of course.
Well, where can folks find your music?
Plug it up, baby. Give me those plugs.
InfiniteThird.com. You got to spell out the THIRD. I have a Bandcamp. If you Google Infinite Third, you should find me. Facebook and all that, Instagram.
Right.
How much is your subscription cost on Bandcamp?
$3.33.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, no, but I actually have subscribers that I have 2 of them that went did the or more option and
did 666.
No, and did 1111.
Oh.
Which I'm waiting for someone to do 666. That would be
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the main thing to plug is just don't do anything yet if you want to support me. Wait till September when I do this crowdfund for my new record. It'll be the first time I'm doing vinyl. The album is going to be called Channels. And it's I'm really writing this album for vinyl, side A, side B.
Yes.
And there will be cassettes.
It is such a good feeling to have the vinyl. It feels so
I
cool.
bet, man. Yeah. I just I'm diving into the concept of vinyl of I'm calling this album Channels, and I've had my mind blown. I think I smoked weed in one of these stops, and I had this moment where I realized I get to say this in the Kickstarter that I'm literally going to carve a channel into vinyl and it will have my music.
Yeah.
And I was just had one of those moments where I was everything clicked,
Right.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So so just wait for that if you want to support me. I don't know when this comes out. Maybe it already came out by the time I'm doing that, but I'm putting everything into this record, and it's been 3 years in the making of conceptualizing and stuff. So
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
that's all.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. This was awesome.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
There he was. There he goes. Wave goodbye to Billy, everybody. He's currently riding away and on his bicycle with his wife to another yoga studio somewhere.
On his bicycle?
I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with a stupid scene.
I just pictured... No, never mind. I'm not going to go there.
What?
Well, this is not. It's not bad at all. I pictured Kermit and Miss Piggy, and Miss Piggy is sitting in a basket on the front of the bike. But then I was like, wait a minute. I'm not trying to insinuate that his wife is overweight or something. I don't even know what she looks like. So see, I'm just digging myself in a hole by trying to make a stupid joke because I like the Muppets. So anyway, there's that. There's the whole arc of that joke.
That's great. Love it.
Man, Billy's just a lovable, bearded teddy bear of a guy. I mean, I feel like he's pretty safe. If he was in an alley, and even if he had a knife out and a shattered bottle, I'd still be
still feel at peace.
He's fine. He's good. Maybe he just really likes
that guy.
Sharp artifacts to carry with him. What am I saying? Goodness
Surely
sakes.
he's doing something positive with that broken beer bottle.
Right. He's changing someone's life with beautiful, maybe he's making sounds.
Or
Ding,
a
ding,
cat is stuck in a plastic bag somewhere and he's got to
Billy Mays, cat rescuer. Yeah.
Hey, well, we talked about Wes Borland, and Wes Borland is a cat rescuer.
He literally is, yes.
And maybe Billy is going to follow that same path. You don't know. None of us know.
Man, there could be cat savers all over who don't even know their full potential.
Could be us.
No. Well, that was sure a tasty old episode of the Ink and Echo podcast that we do here.
Another ep under wraps. Hey,
my appetite is ready for another one next week.
I say let's do it. What do you say? Should we do another episode?
Hey, listen to this real quick. Have you heard that? Well, no, you have Spotify Premium, so you don't hear the commercials. You lucky
Hell no,
guy.
I don't hear those damn commercials.
Man, I don't have
What is
$10
it?
a
You got
month
some good
to
ones?
give to music. But this is a very specific reference, but there's a Dollar Shave Club ad that is really funny that's running on Spotify. And here's why it's funny, because it's kind of, well, it's the premise is this guy doesn't have any friends because he's a dry laugher. And it's super annoying, but
What does that mean?
But well, it's how I laugh. So here, I'm going to literally quote the ad just because I've heard it enough times. So it's setting up the premise of this guy who has no friends. And this guy comes on, he's like, "Hey, Janine, you working hard or hardly working?" And then he does the dry laugh. And the idea is this guy's super annoying because he laughs that way and nobody can stand it. And I, in person on Spotify, I laugh at that, but then I'm also like, well, I laugh like that. So I don't think anyone in my life finds it annoying. I think I would notice that.
That's why I had to have you explain it, because like your laugh doesn't.
Sure.
It's not abrasive. Annoying, so.
Wow.
Here, last thing though, we're coming up on a year.
I know.
Right?
I've been, yeah.
So I guess that's all I wanted to say.
Well, we should try to do something special. Yeah. And I've been kind of kicking around some ideas, but haven't landed on anything yet. But yeah, we should mark that that landmark. Mark
Birthday
the landmark.
cast.
What am I trying to say?
Blowcast.
Yeah.
I wish I hadn't
52.
said that.
You do have the means to cut it out.
I won't though.
Oh boy.
Okay. Well, thank you, Billy. Thanks,
Billy.
listeners. Okay.
See you next week. What are you fiddling with?
Do you hear that flame? It's a big flame. Hold on. Oh, that was a smaller one. Hold on. Shit. Can you hear that?
A little bit.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay, I'm going to not burn my mic.